In this video, I'm going to talk about how to use the marketing quadrant to generate more leads and more sales. Typically, when you start a business, there's two types of marketing that you either do. You're either spending time creating lots of leads and sales, or you're spending some money to create leads and sales. And I can tell you from creating multi-million-pound businesses, these fall into what we call a marketing quadrant. So I want to share that with you. And in fact, you can do this with me. If you just grab a piece of paper and you kind of split this up into, just draw like a big cross in the corner. So the first time, we always have what we call organic marketing. So O for organic marketing. So what does organic marketing mean? Organic marketing means where we're actually pushing out a lot of content marketing. For example, you watching this video, that's an example of content. Now, the important thing that when you're pushing out content, you want to make sure that it's to your ideal client. So the question is, who's your ideal client? Who are you going to serve? Who's going to be that person who has a problem that you're going to be solving? One of the ways I do a lot of organic content marketing is, I'm always asking my audience, specifically what do they want to learn? Like, ask me a question. And when you ask me a question, then I give them a specific answer on that. So that would be an example of organic marketing. Now, the second type of marketing is what we call, which is the paid marketing. So this is where you can actually pay for exposure. So for example, you could go to somebody who's an influencer. You could say, hey, you've got 1 million followers. I'll pay you some money to be able to send an email out or make a post or make a story post or a swipe up. And so you would pay for that exposure. And the great thing about paid exposure is that it's fast, it's quick. The only drawback is that you got to pay money. So that's okay, because let's say you pay someone at £1,000 to make a post. Let's say someone's got, 500,000 followers, 100,000 followers. The question is, can you make that more than £1,000? If the answer is yes, then you can actually do what we call a lot of paid marketing through influencers. You could also pay a lot of paid platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat. All these platforms have what we call ad platforms where you can access their audience and their database. So instead of posting on your own page to promote your products and services, what we're doing is we're actually paying those companies to actually access our buyers. And this is the key. So let's say, for example, you're a restaurant and you're based in London. You could say, I want to target all the people. Let's say you have a Japanese restaurant. I want to target all the people in London that love Japanese food. So now only these people will start seeing, your restaurant. You could give like a 20% coupon away, a 20% discount. You could ask for somebody's birthday. You can target people on their birthday months to be able to give them a discount. And of course, if that happens, they're not going to come to the restaurant themselves. They can bring 10 friends with them. And then if each person spends £20 a head, that's an extra 200 extra on what you're going to be earning from just giving one free meal away. So that's what we call our paid marketing strategy. Now, the next part, when you start gathering some momentum, you start to get the B, which is your brand. Okay, so your brand marketing is, for example, if you've never come across me before, I can say, well, go to Google and type in John Lee Forbes, because I was recently featured in Forbes. That would be an example of brand marketing. Or sometimes when I'm doing interviews on TV or newspaper or a Huffington Post or Entrepreneur magazine, so Wall Street Journal even. So when I'm being published in these, I'm not paying for that. What I'm doing is I've created enough buzz to get me attracted to that media. That there are millions of people that read these publications. I think last time I was published in Edge magazine, they put a little link there to my website, and I started getting a lot of inquiries, people asking, hey, do you offer this service or this service or this service? So getting what we call brand marketing is really important. We also do a lot of collaborations with other brands as well. So, and that brings me to the next part, which is your C for collaborations. In fact, let me do that in different colors so we can activate different parts of the brain. In this one, you would have your collaboration marketing. So all these go hand in hand. When you're doing branded marketing also goes hand in hand with collaboration marketing. So I'll give an example. One of the ways I was able to start my keynote speaking career as my speaker is I started collaborating with other promoters around the world. For example, I would talk about different topics on business, entrepreneurship, speaker training, investing, property, and now, of course, how to grow your business using social media and to actually monetize that. There's no point having followers if you can't monetize it. So how do you use social media? How do you monetize that? And how do you grow your business? I do a lot of collaborations. So the way collaborations work, you want to find people who have the same audience as you, but the key here is not in direct competition. So let me give an example. So I would go to if I'm doing property, I would go to an estate agent and say, because I'm looking for people that want to sell the properties. Agents also have lots of people that want to sell the properties. And so you're thinking, well, John, aren't they directly in competition with you? Yes and no. Yes, if I'm operating my same business as them, as in buying property at a very, so let's say, I don't know, in the same time frames, but I have something very special, which is I buy property with cash within 28 days. So I say to the agent, I say, look, if you have anyone that needs to sell the property within 28 days, I'll buy it with cash. But when I buy it with cash, I'll have to buy it at a discount to the market. This collaboration, I tell you, it's done so much for my business. I do all four of these. I do a lot of organic marketing where you see me. I've gained over 5 million people that follow me on social media across different platforms now. I spent millions and millions of pounds on paid marketing. So I work with a lot of Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Google. I do a lot of branded marketing as well, where, I get invited a lot to do podcasts, keynote speeches for free. And that's how I first started. I started speaking for free, and then I started gaining more traction, and people, every time I would speak, the next day my office would be inundated with phone calls from people saying, oh, John, I saw your speech and I just wanted to know if you could help me with X, Y, Z. So I would do a lot of brand marketing that would bring in people and prospects that would turn into customers. And of course, I do a lot of collaboration. So if you look at these 4 different pillars and these 4 sectors, that these are some of the things that you have to learn in your business. You can't just rely on organic marketing or SEO, as a lot of people talk about it. And you can't, because it's too slow. You can't just rely on paid marketing, because eventually money's going to, it costs money to do that. You can't just rely on brand, because brand, it takes time for the money to come in, because people got to read your story and they're going to inquire. So the sales cycle is much longer. And of course, the last one, which is collaborations, which for me is the most powerful one, because that's instant value and instant income. Every time I've done a collaboration, if you want to make money the fastest, you want to grow your business and create the revenue, do a collaboration straight away, because it doesn't cost any money. And what you're doing is you make it a win-win. So it's a win for you, it's a win for their clients, and it's also a win for the collaborator as well. So I really hope you got a lot of value from this. And make sure, if you've never heard of him before, just head over to YouTube. If you're watching all across social media platforms, just go to Google. If you've never heard of him before, type in John Lee Forbes. Or I just recently also got published with Warren Buffett, who's a multi-billionaire. So you can type in John Lee Warren Buffett as well, and you can read some of the articles. So I really hope you got a lot of value from this. And it's John Lee, the author of Business Hack. I'll see you in the next session. Bye for now.